So Deuteronomy's account is Moses recalling what occurred. And I can only imagine what Moses was thinking when he sat down to write this. He sat back and probably said to himself, I'm so mad that we were this close and we didn't go in. Let me go a little deeper. Where they were was a place called Kadesh. Kadesh means holy place in the wilderness. Kadesh was on the south end of the land. If you look at your maps, you'll discover that Kadesh was a direct shot into the promised land. Yes. There were no rivers. There were no extra obstructions. It was just a straight path into the promised land. And it's interesting that sometimes we will create all kind of barriers and boundaries that will cause us not to obtain what God has for us. Even when the pathway is clear, we will come up with anything to say that we can't make it in. As clear as day, just like if Barry Sanders back in the day ran through an offensive line with 40 yards in front of him to the end zone, with nobody there to tackle him. It's like running 40 yards, nobody there to tackle you, and rather than score a touchdown, you run out of bounds at the 1 yard line. And you say to yourself, I just couldn't score because I ran out of gas. And there was nobody within 20 yards of you. That's how we do God sometimes. God will make the way plain, open up the door, make things happen, remove everything and everybody, and promise you that even if something comes near you, I'm going to take it out so you can possess what I promised, and yet we tell God. We can't have it. It messed my world up in meditation because I said, God, there has to be something to this that makes some sense, because I do not understand how people could be that close, right on the verge, right on the edge, right there, and not walk in. And God says sometimes, he says, son, sometimes people worship long enough in Kadesh that they begin to believe that's all that they are ever going to have. They will worship in the holy place, and they will forget to ever go back towards the thing I promised them. Yes. Church, I'm going to say this right now before I get to the point. I don't know about anybody else, but I refuse to make the same mistake twice.
Yes, yes.
You see, even before we get to anything about the vision for the church, you need to think about your own life for about 2 seconds. And you can review in your mind that there are some things that God presented you and said to you was already yours. But somehow fear crept in and told you that you were not able to possess it. You had whatever issues in you that said you're either too old, too stupid, to this and to that, that you can't have it. I'm trying to cast out a demon today.
All right, amen.
You're not bright enough. You can't do this and you can't do that. You have a record. Nobody's going to pay attention to you. You have deficiency in your ability to read any kind of book for whatever reason. You are not qualified to have what God says you can have. But let me tell you something. It's not about natural qualifications. If you're a child of God, if you are saved by grace through faith, if you have the blood over your life and you got faith that can move a mountain, you are qualified to have whatever God says you can have. We don't need to be a 1,000-member church to possess a college graduate to possess the promise of God. You do not need to match somebody else's status quo to have what God says you can have. All you got to do is believe that God can and will, and He's going to do it through you and for you. Is there anybody in here that's got some faith right now that says that even in the midst of what I've been going through, where I've been and what I've done, because of who I know, and because I am His, He is mine, and it don't matter what I've done, that He only sees me for who I am, what I shall be, because He promised that my days are going to be greater than my past. I can't do it the same way twice. It was hard for Moses to look back and say we were right there. That's all this accounted. He said we were right there. And you know what makes it worse for Moses? You know why it gets sad for Moses? All the stuff he went through. Everything he went through with these people. And then when you get to the end of Deuteronomy, you get towards the end, God tells him, you still won't go in. Don't you know how much that has to hurt? You done dealt with people, dealt with them nagging you to death, crying about stuff, trying to infuse faith into their lives, and you still don't get in. This was his one chance. This was his one shot. This was his one opportunity. This was it. He was right there. The people spied the land. They said it was everything God said it was, and yet they rebelled.
Yes, they did.
And said, no, we can't have it. How many times in your life have you heard somebody say, it is impossible for us to do this? Church, let's get real for another moment. How many times have you sat in this place in the past on the verge of something great, and somebody said, it can't happen? We have never done it this way. It'll never work because this is the only way it could work. And you miss